Big tech arguably interfered in the 2020 election by suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story, a story which now the mainstream media has suddenly taken interest in. My next guest is a lawyer and also founded an organization that is fighting tech censorship. Joining us now is the president of the Internet Accountability Project, Mike Davis. Mike, thanks for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Mike, okay, so a lot of people are wanting to know, and of course many Americans are waiting with bated breath to see if there's going to be any justice inside of the Hunter Biden laptop case and crimes currently being adjudicated inside of Delaware. What is your take on this scandal of biblical political proportions?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to put it, Ben. This is a case where big tech and big media colluded to prevent the American people from learning about this Hunter Biden laptop that shows clear corruption by Hunter Biden, by Joe Biden's brother James, and there's even evidence that Joe Biden was involved in this corruption, foreign corruption, with the communist Chinese government officials, with Ukraine, and big tech and media, and big media colluded to kill this story. The New York Post was reporting the story back before the 2020 election. So big tech and big media called it Russian disinformation, which we know is false. And they prevented people from seeing this story. They prevented people from sharing the story on big tech platforms. And it shows that these big tech platforms, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, Twitter, have too much power, and we need to break them up.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's certainly election interference by any estimation, right? Like, you would consider that election interference in an American election?
Of course. I mean, this clearly would have affected the outcome of the 2020 election. Polling shows this. They knew this. If they knew that a president of the United States and his family were this compromised by the Ukraine government, by the Chinese government, that would have made people pause and not vote to elect this guy. And it's a disaster that we have a president in office now where his son is facing corruption charges, tax fraud, tax evasion, maybe foreign agent registration corruption, maybe even more. I mean, this laptop that Hunter Biden had, the information on this laptop is damning. It is damning evidence that shows that the Biden crime family is rotten to the core.
You worked in both the Bush and Trump administrations. Do you think any of their children or perhaps even the president could have gotten away with this?
So I worked for Bush 43. I can assure you that never would have happened then. And I worked in the Senate helping President Trump confirm his judges. And I worked with then Chairman Chuck Grassley, my home state senator from Iowa. He's the one who uncovered this corruption by the Biden family back in 2018 and 2019. And he was labeled a Russian stooge, a Putin stooge, for uncovering this. This is there is no chance that President Trump or his kids would get away with what President Biden and his brother James and his son Hunter are getting away with here. And frankly, there needs to be a special counsel appointed. President Biden has come out and said that Hunter and his brother are innocent. That puts undue political influence on an ongoing investigation in his Justice Department, in Merrick Garland's Justice Department. There needs to be a special counsel appointed.
Mike, you said that Joe Biden may be implicated in this laptop scandal. Could you crack open that laptop and tell me how you believe Joe Biden could potentially be implicated in bombshell of all political bombshells here, the Hunter Biden laptop story?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's references to 10% to the big guy, which is Joe Biden, who is Joe Biden, and there are references to half the money goes to Pop, and that's Joe Biden. And you have to think about this. You have Hunter Biden, who has a skill set in what is being hired by Ukraine energy officials, gas officials, and then communist Chinese party officials to do what? I mean, what the heck could Hunter Biden possibly help anyone with, let alone foreign governments? And it's clearly because his dad was the vice president and his dad was a potential contender for the presidency. This is clear corruption. And the special the Attorney General Merrick Garland must now appoint a special counsel to give this person independence to investigate clear evidence of corruption by Hunter Biden, by James Biden, the presidential brother, and even President Biden himself.
Mike, you assisted in getting multiple Supreme Court nominees to the Supreme Court in the Trump administration by working through the Senate Judiciary. What is your take on Ketanji Brown Jackson? You clearly must have some pretty strong feelings on this.
I do, and I'll tell you, Ben, when she was first picked, I thought this is one liberal replacing one of three liberals. I'm going to oppose her, but I'm not going to make a huge deal about that. The more I learned about her record, and including her disqualifying record of extreme leniency for sex predators of kids, at another group I run, the Article 3 Project, we made it our mission for the American people to learn about this extreme disqualifying record. She should not be on the court. She was not properly vetted. President Biden smeared people for pointing out her judicial record going back 25 years, including 8 of 8 cases where she granted rock bottom leniency for people who possess and distribute child pornography, including rape and torture videos of young kids, including babies. She should not be on the Supreme Court. There were 2 other potential picks, that Michelle Childs and Leandra Kruger, who would have been just fine for him as liberal justices. They picked the one who should not be on the Supreme Court. She has a disqualifying record.
We have 30 seconds, Mike. Over under on Joe Biden being impeached.
He absolutely should be impeached. For many reasons, including the fact that he's refusing to enforce our immigration laws. He has a constitutional duty to execute our laws and secure our borders, and he's not doing it. He should be impeached for that reason alone, along with many other reasons.
That's right, making the nation a much worse place. Let's pray for a swift end. Godspeed, Mike, and all of your lawfare and assistance in a field where conservatives need a lot of help, the legal one. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.